Hi, my name is Suzanna Winton, and today we're going to be doing a free art lesson with Jerry's Artarama, and I'm going to be teaching you how to paint an eye. I'm going to talk a little bit about the eye. The iris, of course, is the round part of the eye that has the color. And we'll be painting a blue eye today, and then we'll also talk about the lids. Everybody has an upper and a lower lid. This is a common area that is missed. And you also have a lid crease, which is above the eye. So, and then you have the corner of the eye. These are areas that I'll be referring to. So we're going to go ahead and start. And for the skin tones today, I'll be using Winsor yellow, and I'll be using a little bit of opera rose to begin. So I'm just going to mix up some of my Winsor yellow, and you want to use fresh paint. And I'm going over the white of the eye, if you'll notice. A lot of people make the mistake of not using paint over the white of the eye, and that's not a very natural look. So the white of the eye actually has flesh in it. So you want to make sure that you paint right over the white of the eye. Now, I like to look to see if there's any blue or any other color that I can drop in. And right now would be the time to drop in the paint while it's really wet. I'm going to drop in a little bit right in the corner of the eye and a little bit over the eye where I see a little bit of a blue. Also, I'd like to mention I'm using round sable brushes. They tend to do better for the type of painting that I do, good quality rounds. Right now I'm using a number 6. And our second step is we're going to start laying in more color using the same colors we were using. So we're going to look for the darker areas where we can build up color. And there's an area right here on the inner part of the eye, above the eye, in between the eye and the eyebrow. And the main thing that you want to remember when you're painting skin tones is to layer the yellow and the red. Very important. If you mix them together, you don't get as nice a color. So you want to layer those two, wet into wet. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just building up the color, working into the mid values so that we can start laying in the eye color as soon as we get enough flesh color built up around the eye. So we're just going to lay the color down, and then I'm softening my edge all around it. So I'm looking for areas that are darker in value. There's more color out on the edge of the eye that goes from the lid up toward the eyebrow. And I'm going to go ahead and lay in some yellow and red on the eyebrow as well. This is an area that oftentimes is overdone. The eyebrows, you have to be very careful not to overdo, especially when you start laying in the hair color. But I always like to put down a base of at least one wash of flesh, the yellow and the red, and then it gives you a base to apply the hair over it. Switch to a number 2 round sable. We're going to be working in more of the detail areas. I'm also going to need my glasses for that, so I'm going to go ahead and get those on. I want to go ahead and lay in a very strong layer of yellow, Winsor yellow, in the crease of the lid, and I'm just applying that. It's pretty much a dry wash, and while it's still wet, I'm using a very strong opera rose on top of that, and then I'm going to soften this. What I'm doing here, this is called a crevice flesh, And what I'm doing here is I'm preparing this area for a purple or a shadow color. And normally it's going to be purple when I'm doing a shadow color on the face. Now I also need to build up the flesh color, a strong crevice flesh in the corner of the eye. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down my Winsor yellow in the corner of the eye. And while it's still wet, I'm going to go over it with the strong opera rose. And I'm just going to pull this color up toward the edge of the eye. And while I'm at it, I am going to go under the lower lid here with Winsor yellow and opera rose. And notice how I lay the color down and then I soften my edges. And I go right up to the edge with the water and soften it. And I also rinse in between my red and my yellow to keep my colors really clean. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my number 4. And I'm going to, I can see that the eyebrows need more color. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more yellow there. And I'll pull it down into the corner of the eye. That area needs more color as well. So I'm just strengthening the value of the color around the eye. So I'm building color, and I'm building the color so that I can put on my darks, my shadows, once I get enough color down. A common mistake is not getting enough flesh color around the eyes. And if you don't have that in there, it's not going to read well. You're not going to have a good look. So I'm applying a little under the eye where the eye socket is, and softening my edges as I go. And I also need an edge on the lower lid here. So I'm going to go in with a crevice flesh, and I'm going to paint a yellow for the lower lid where the lid actually meets the white of the eye. We're going to stop one more time and dry this so that we can get into the color for the iris of the eye.